In today's project, we're going to take some mesquite burl and resin, combine them, and make a vase out of it. In this project, the burl sucked up more resin from the pour than there was reservoir for, so we had to do a second pour. And when that happens, a lot of times you get a witness line because you can't mask that witness line any other way. So the way I attack this today, we'll go over as we get into the video, but we'll utilize a shape on the vase to mask that witness line so that it's not something that jumps right out at you. So we've got our resin mixed, we got our color injected into it, we got it in the vacuum chamber. We're going to draw as much air out of it as we possibly can, and we'll throw it in the pressure pot, let it cook for 72 hours, and get on with the project. So you can see here the witness line that I've referenced. It's where the purple and the yellow come together from a second pour because the burl just sucked up so much resin. It took in more than the reservoir that I left on top, anticipating a little bit of loss, but I got a whole lot more than I thought would happen, so it left a big gap at the top. But we'll, as the video goes on here, we'll get into how I masked that and just made it so that it's not as eye-catching like a straight line does, straight witness line like you see right there. We're going to get the bottom prepped up here so that we can get the glue block on it, get it turned around. Once that glue block is on and the project is turned around, we'll start refining the bead that I'm going to utilize to mask that witness line. Sometimes you just can't avoid a witness line. There's nothing you can do about it, but this game in a position that gave me enough room that I can build a bead, as you'll see here just in a few minutes, and bring the bottom half and the top, create a bead right there on that witness line, and it just covers it up really well. I was pleased with the way it came out. I really don't like straight lines, but sometimes it happens. I've got a good amount of my burl exposed by getting the resin cut off the top of it, and as you can see right there, just starting to get that bead developed, and I'm trying to tuck in where the purple meets the yellow right at the top edge of that bead, and your eye will go to the bead and see that, as opposed to the straight line that you get with the two resins coming together the way it did. Got a lot of good burl exposed in the end of this project, and the grain in this mesquite burl is just absolutely awesome. I've got this in real time, and you can see I'm using the Phoenix from Hunter Tool Systems to shave that down. That little #1 cutter makes it really easy to get a nice cove on the top bottom of that bead. I'm going to keep that bead kind of flat, as opposed to a rounded top. It appeals to me more on this project. But excellent tool to use, great to work with. Almost every tool that I use is from the Hunter Tool System. They're great tools, all carbide, and they just really go to town on almost any wood that you put it against, and definitely does a great job with the resin. Got the wheels of the steady rest riding right on the bottom edge of that bead. It helps keep them all aligned, keeps the vibration out, just makes it a whole lot easier when you're drilling and hollowing out. Gonna get the top of this hollowed out a little bit so that I get a little more room to work. Right there I'm using the long reach Hunter Tool Systems hollowing tool. Really nice, plenty of stability in that tool. You can see there it's got a real thick base to ride on. Really pretty easy tool to control when you're reaching way back there at the far limits of it, but an excellent tool for hollowing if you're not going to use a like my one-way hollowing system. Right there, you're watching me use the Trent Bosch scraping tool. It's a negative rake scraper. Really helps smooth out the hills and the valleys. I use that a lot when I've got an area that's going to be tougher to sand because I can't get my hand in there or the drill pad. But that scraper just gets it down smooth. I've had some projects where gets it down smooth enough you almost don't need to sand. Here again, always using that set of calipers to keep my wall thickness as consistent as possible. Really, that thing gets used all the time. Here we're going to get some hand sanding started to get up around that bead and get it smoothed out as best as possible. I always sand from 60 to 800 grit and then buff it and steel wool it. It just flattens the surfaces out. It takes the finish coat a lot better and it just lays down so nice. Here we're going to use the Waterlux sealer, especially as much as this burl is just drinking up everything liquid that gets put on it. This sealer really works well under what will be the finish coat of the Waterlux original in the end. But you put it on, 5-10 minutes later, wipe the excess off, let it sit for 24 hours, and then hit it with a sander and get it all smoothed out. I always denatured alcohol to clean it between about every 2 or 3 levels of grit, so you'll see that a lot. Starting to get the Waterlux original gloss finish on it, and because of that sealer earlier, it cut. Typically, most of my projects take 3 coats probably. The sealer will cut 1 coat of finish out of the mix and really helps that final coat lay down smooth. Here I'm just gonna make sure I got any dry spots, got enough finish on it so that it'll dry a little more evenly. But this is just the first coat, so it's got to get buffed out, and then the second coat will go on it once that happens. We've got the glue block off, get it sanded and finished. It's in the coal jaws so that we can work on that bottom. We'll get it all smoothed out, usually go from about 120 to 400 on the bottom. Then once that happens, we'll get the logo put on it right there, get it signed and numbered, and then get a finish coat on it and get this thing up on the shelf. I want to thank you so much for watching. Please, if you would, subscribe, like, comment. It's the way my channel grows, and I appreciate ever so much the time that you've taken to watch what's going on, and hopefully you've found a little different technique for those inevitable witness lines in the whole woodworking and resin world. Well, you've got the end. I want to thank you again. And right here in the end screen, YouTube's going to suggest a video for you to watch now.